guys. I'm Kim Kral. I am reporting to you not live from my closet. Hi guys. How is everybody? I am giggling because I ran out of deodorant like 3 days ago and it's bad, guys. It's bad. I shower like twice a day too. I don't know, I've gotten into a routine where I shower at night before I go to bed. I don't know why. It's just kind of nice getting into the sheets all and then I wake up in the morning and I like to shower, mostly because my bangs. Let me explain. I use Vaseline on my face as night cream. I know that's going to make a lot of you go, what? But it's actually like I look like a baby. So maybe listen to me. I don't know. A makeup artist friend of mine years ago told me that's what she uses on her face as night cream. And I was like, doesn't that clog your pores? And she goes, you'd think, right? But no, it's a barrier. So it like locks in all the shit you put in your on your face beforehand, like whatever. Like I use a thing called Curology, who I had a lot of acne problems at the bottom of. I guess we're off and running. It's so funny. Every time I have like a thing, every time I start the show, I'm always like, I don't know how I'm gonna start. And then like a minute in, I'm like, I don't know why you're ever worried about that. You have no problem just off and running. But I used to have really bad acne on my chin, like really bad, and dermatologists and people were just like, oh, it's your gut. And then I was doing shit for my gut, right, to like hopefully clear up the skin, and nothing would. And then I heard of Curology, and if you have acne problems, I suggest looking into it. It's like $20 a month, and it's amazing. Like I don't have pimples now, like at all. Like I think I've had a zit in the last, I think I had 2 zits while I had COVID. And then other than that, I haven't had them in years, even like on like period stuff. And then I put Vaseline on and it like keeps it in there. I don't know. But so I put Vaseline on and I need to wash my bangs in the morning because my bangs get in the Vaseline while I sleep and then they're greasy. So I shower deodorant. I'm like, why am I telling you this? I ran out of, but I shower twice a day, but it's not bad yet, but by like 6 o'clock, it's going to be pretty bad. And you're probably asking, why don't you just go buy deodorant, Kim? Well, my friends, I ordered deodorant on Amazon. I know that's like it's not, look, I do a lot. I try to be as like socially aware and conscious, but Amazon is just really hard not to buy from. That's like one of my major guilts of the world. I don't know. My buddy Whitney and I were talking that maybe Jeff Bezos will like one day wake up and get a conscience and like, really do good for the world. He compared him to Bill Gates. Like maybe, Bill Gates now wants to like save the world. I don't know. But I order clinical deodorant. I have a sweat problem. I'm a sweaty broad. I order clinical deodorant and you get it in it's like 3-pack for like $20. So I don't have to worry about buying deodorant for 6 months or like 4 months or something like that. So I'm waiting for it in the mail. Also, I'm not going anywhere. So it's just me that's like dealing with the problem is I have to like I have to not tell every single person I come in contact with, which I've told you guys now. And, my friend, I don't know what to, my friend, my special, my dude friend, we're gonna, I don't know why I'm so stuttery when I talk about him. I was able to have a whole Zoom call with him and not tell him that I ran out of deodorant. The day will come that he listens to this. He keeps telling me, he's like, oh yeah, I downloaded it. I just haven't had time. I'm like, oh, I don't know if you should listen to it. But whatever, I am who I am. But yeah, it's bad, guys. It's bad. By like 6 o'clock, it's like, Jesus Christ. I'm not even doing anything either. COVID update. Yeah, as you heard, I just breathed. It's been about a week since I've been on the drugs and it's better. It's much better. I am finding that I have to stay away from stressful people and situations and topics, just anything that slightly stresses me out. Cause like when you get stressed out, your chest contracts, right? Your chest tightens up. Like that's just like a normal physiological thing that happens when you get stressed out. And your breathing is harder to breathe because of the chest tightening. So I'm already having a hard time breathing. And then when I get stressed out, it just like, I just bit my tongue. I just noticed in the last week that it really, like the breathing gets really bad when I'm approached by something stressful. So I'm just like, no stress for Kralski right now. And I don't have to, like, I everything is fine. You know what I mean? Like everything is just fine. Like I've told my job I can't come back for a while. Unemployment is coming in. Like I'm like, like so financially, like I'm cool. Like I have nothing. The only thing I have are like fun, like things like this that I get to do, not like so like it's just like the only job I have right now is just to focus on my health. So if shit stresses me out, I'm setting a lot of boundaries, man, a lot of boundaries. People are, messaging me about random shit. And if I don't know them, I just don't respond. But if I do, I'm just like, oh, I can't get into that right now. Hope you're well, cause it's just like, I can't, I have to, I want to be able to go on a hike soon. I am going to go to the beach today after this. I know it's like 60 or 57 degrees or something. It's probably way colder at the beach. I don't even know if I'm going to get out, but we're coming up on, today would mark 95 days since I started getting symptoms. So I'm almost at 100 days of having COVID. I don't have COVID. You know what I mean? Recovering from COVID. I don't know what the right terminology is, but dealing with COVID, I guess. And so I just like, so it's 3 months of just like I go to the store sometimes, but like I've gone like maybe 5 times. I'm not contagious for those of you who are like, what? Yeah, other than that, I'm just like, I can't go. I haven't been able to go on a hike. So I was just like, oh, I'm going to just drive to the PCH and see where the day takes me. So that's what I'm going to do today and, turn off my phone and just relax. I wanted to talk about, so the last couple of weeks I've been compiling a list of, I always say I have one rule. I have a rule. I have one rule. And then I was like, I start writing those rules down and see what happens. And so I've decided today is the day I'm going to I came up with 15 rules on how I live my life. And I'm some asshole. This is what I've learned in the last couple of years. This is what I've learned in a life, from a childhood of pretty bad adversity. I try to like downplay that. I had a fucked up childhood. So from a really fucked up childhood, I think we can all agree now. I can say it was a fucked up childhood. I used to be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. My dad was fine. I'm like, no, you don't have phrases like naked shower time with your dad if your dad was, okay. Like that's just not. So like I always like downplay that stuff. But so this is like from having a bad childhood to like years of therapy, and then the last 2.5 years of just like really looking at my shit and 12-step. And so I put together a list of 15 rules. So once again, I'm some asshole that like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I do know that as I'm learning to live by these rules, my life has gotten better, less stressful. Toxic people have fucked off, and I'm just overall serene. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll share it and share some stories on how I learned this. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm so like nervous that you'll be like, why does she think that she's qualified to tell us this shit? Right. I don't know why you're listening. And if you've been listening for, I don't know, what do we have, like 44 episodes? We're 44 episodes. If you've been listening as long, maybe you think I have something important to say or funny or whatever. Wow. I'm really nervous about this. I was raised in a home where I was told I was dumb a lot. Like specifically and directly, but also a lot of very bizarre passive aggressive ways of just letting me know that I was just not a very bright person. I now know that is complete bullshit, and I'm actually one of the smarter ones out there, right? That doesn't say much. There's a lot of really dumb people in the world, but like, yeah. So I get really, one of my vulnerabilities is when I talk about shit that I know, if that makes sense. Like I feel really vulnerable and really, really scared, and like I'm being visible when you're visible, when I was a child, it brought on criticism or unwanted touching, so being visible, and which is funny coming from a girl that like it has a podcast, is a stand-up comedian, has a weekly show on a live app, had a radio show, and is a bartender. Like my whole life is all but being invisible, but like that's that's hiding in plain sight. That's what it was when I started, hiding in plain sight. And now I'm, in the last year or so, I've been really coming out authentically, and that's cool, but it makes me really scared and vulnerable that So sharing my words of wisdom, I guess, if you will, makes me feel like you might go, what does this bitch have to teach us? And I'm not trying to teach anybody. I'm just telling you, these are the rules that I try to live my life by. And since I've started to really implement them, I'm a lot happier. Toxic people have fucked off. I'm starting what seems to be a healthy getting to know, not a friendship with a guy that I really like. Isn't it funny? We were talking about almost last week. It's just like we're in that stage where it's just enjoying this moment and I'm really happy. But like, I have never had that. Normally, I'm a person who skips to the last chapter of the book. Seriously, I told my cousin this the other day and she was like, what? I was like, my whole life, but I'm hyper vigilant. I'm afraid of abandonment. I'm hyper vigilant. I walk into a room. I know where every single exit is. Like I have an exit plan. I even look at people like, okay, if shit goes wrong, I'll grab that, break his head. Like I have a contingency plan in every room I walk into. And that's a result of growing up in, pretty heavy abuse abuse. But for the first time, I think ever, I'm just enjoying the moment with a person that I am enjoying getting to know. God, I always get so nervous that I don't think he listens to this. I think he keeps telling me he's going to, but then and I'm not offended if he does or doesn't. In fact, I am a little freaked out if he does, just because, actually, no, I'm not. Either way, we're all good. Oh no. Things are, that's okay. Sometimes this closet is kind of small and I'm a big broad. Baby. All right. So the 15 rules. First one's very simple. It's don't go to the hardware store for milk. Right. So I learned that in Al-Anon. If you don't know what Al-Anon is and you have an alcoholic in your life, you should check it out. Al-Anon was my first recovery program. It's just for friends and family of alcoholics. So if you're married to an alcoholic, it's just kind of like ACA, how ACA was described to me. Like Al-Anon teaches you how to deal with the world. ACA with the wounds you have. ACA goes deep down, finds the wound, rips it open and heals it. Much harder. A lot. Even like people, my old Al-Anon friends, when I started ACA, they were like, ooh, I know that I should go to ACA, but I hear that it's really fucking hard. And so I don't think I'm ready yet. And they're right. It's really fucking hard. But like I learned that in Al-Anon, don't go to the hardware store for milk. And if you're like, what the fuck does that mean? It means like, I know that my family's love language is being shitty to each other, like making fun of each other or, just like shitting on each other. And so when I want support and love, I don't reach out to them. Like I have certain friends that like I not really as much anymore, but like I have certain friends that aren't going to be supportive about say the guy I'm seeing right now. They're not going to be supportive about that. So my old behavior would be trying to go back to them over and over and over again to get them to be supportive of a thing that I just know they're not going to be. And that's from my childhood of like, you try to fix the relationships from your parents with the people around you. Like if I can get this guy to love me, then it means that I fixed the relationship with my dad. So it's just like, then that's just not how it works. It's just, and it took me years of doing that. It took me years of like picking crazy women to be friends with so I could fix the relationship with my mother, collecting mother figures, dating drunks who were mean to me and sexualized me, or even working with men like that. Is just like, if I could fix that, I could fix the relationship with my dad. And so like, don't go to the hardware store for milk. Like there's not milk at the hardware store. So like the friends that aren't supportive of, this relationship, I don't go to them for that stuff. But I do go to them for other kind of support. You know what I mean? So like, I've learned like, don't go to the hardware store for milk. I don't know how else to describe that, but I think that's pretty, my mother is never going to be a mother to me. I don't talk to her really at all, but like if she was in my life, when she was in my life, I never went to her for nurturing stuff or advice because she just didn't have the capability of giving that to me. So I just don't go to the hardware store for milk anymore. Rule number 2, if someone doesn't have any friends, there is a reason why. If someone wants to be your friend, and they have literally no friends. No, I'm not talking like, oh, I just moved to this city and I don't know anybody yet. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking like, oh, I just went through this transition and now I'm, I only had really toxic people in my life and I've worked on myself and they fucked off and now I'm kind of lonely. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that are like, I'll tell you 2 examples. And this is where I learned the lesson. And I knew this lesson a long time ago. And I always, so there's this comedian. I use the word comedian very loosely. She was an open micer. And I also use the words open micer very loosely. Like she was a girl who would show up at the open mics and just like pretended she was a comedian, get on stage, ramble about nothing, and then get off the stage and then never did literally anything else. I know that that's mean. I don't know. She was kind of a bitch, so I don't care. But she lived in Los Angeles her whole life. She was like 43 years old. She lived in Los Angeles her whole life. And I'm talking LA. Like she has a rent controlled 2-bedroom apartment in West Hollywood, which is wild. She pays like $700 or some shit like that. Because it was her parents in like the 70s and then her parents like died and then she took it over. And so now she has like a 2-bedroom apartment. And so she's legit lived in LA her whole life. So when I meet her, she clamors on to me like we are, like we should be friends. We should be best friends. And there was another girl that I was friends with at the time. And she wanted to be me and this other girl's friend, this other girl, me's friend. Who cares if it's grammatically correct? She wanted to be our friends. And we went to lunch one time and the whole lunch was just like terrible. It was terrible. This girl dominated. I had just broken up with a boyfriend and I was devastated. Annie had just stolen KimKral.com. That's a story for another day. But I was like really sad about the boyfriend and then also fucked up about how the boyfriend stole my website while we were together. And so I'm at lunch and this girl was like dating some guy. So she was like, let's all go around the table and talk about what we love the most about our boyfriends. Kim, you can say what you loved most about your ex-boyfriend that you're currently crying about. Like, just what a cunt, right? Like, and so I was just like, oh, I guess, and this again was like 7 years ago. Now I wouldn't even been to that lunch, but I told what I loved about him. And then every girl at the table kind of told what they loved about their boyfriends. And then she's like, no one's going to ask me what I love most about Jeremy. And I was like, oh, so you just wanted to tell us that you didn't care about ours. And so she had no friends, none. She was trying to make us her friends. And I left that lunch and was like, I'm good. I don't want to hang out with that girl anymore. My friend, her name was Megan. Megan started hanging out with this broad. And she calls me and she's like, this girl's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, she doesn't have any friends. When someone doesn't have any friends, there is a reason why. It is not your job to fix them or pity them or rescue them. And which it's wild that that's a big thing in my 12-step now. But I knew that then. It was like, there's a reason why you run away. Like you just run away. There's no your friendship isn't going to make them more likable or work on their shit. Like a lot of people are like, oh, they don't have any friends. Maybe I could be the one to help them see why. No. If someone you are not going to save or fix anybody. So if someone doesn't want to have any friends and they want to be your friend, there is a reason why you run for the hills. That is a fucking red flag. Again, I'm not talking about people who just moved somewhere or are trying to get their life together. I'm talking about this broad. There's also another broad that she was a person in a group. I used to wait on a bunch of Eagle fans at Big Wang's back in the day, and she was a person in that group that nobody liked, right? But she was an Eagle fan, so they allowed her in, and she clamored onto me too and was like, I want to be your friend. And I was just like, I'm okay. Like, I'm just really busy. And at the time I was running open mic with my friend Whitney Melton called Mouthy Pants. A lot of you know Mouthy Pants. It was one of my favorite things in my career so far and will always be, right? But it was an open mic and it was a big party. It was awesome. And I ran it every Tuesday and this girl was constantly trying to hang out with me. So she finds on Facebook where I'm at on Tuesday and shows up. And I'm like, oh, hey, are you trying to do comedy? And she's like, no, I just wanted to hang out with you. And I was like, oh, cool. And let me say also, most of the time, those people that don't have any friends, like I didn't really like her, her personality didn't mesh with my personality. But I was like, oh, okay, great. Thanks for the support. And later I called Whitney and Whitney was like, I don't know, and we talked about this afterwards. And I was like, dude, no, if someone doesn't have friends, there's a reason why. Not my job to fix them or save them. But he was like, maybe she doesn't have any friends. And maybe you could, maybe she just wants to be your friend and she doesn't have any. And maybe we can. And I was like, yeah, you're right. No, Whitney, I love you. He listens to this. I love you. We had this. I don't know if you remember this. We had this talk 8 years ago. No, but I was like, okay, I guess he's right. So the first football game, the first Bronco opening night, We played a Thursday night game. I remember this game because I was still working at Big Wings, but I didn't work that night. And I got a big corner booth for a bunch of my Bronco friends and a guy that liked me at the time who was a Pats fan and wore Bronco colors for me. And I didn't know he liked me. And then later when we became friends, he was like, yeah, I wore Broncos for you, bitch. He didn't call me bitch, but so she showed up, right? This girl showed up and I don't think I invited her, but when she showed up, she was like, oh, hi, I knew that you were going to be here. So I was and I was like, yeah, join us. Cool, 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 cool. She sucked the whole time, sucked the energy out of the table the whole time. The whole time, everybody was like, who the fuck's this girl? Then the Wang Zuki incident. That was more I had to breathe. I was trying to be dramatic, but then I really needed to breathe. So it came off more dramatic than I meant it to. So the way her Wangzuki is basically like the big, the cookie, the Pazuki or whatever is that Big Wang's. It's like a half-baked cookie. It takes like 30 minutes. It's really good. It's delightful, but they have a variation all over like Bennigan's and Chili's and whatever, a random sports bar throughout the country. So it's like a cookie, but it takes forever to come out. So she orders the cookie comes out, it's burnt. And she goes, this is burnt. And that's fair, right? That's fair. I knew the waitress. I worked at this fucking bar, right? I worked at the bar. I was friends with the owners. I worked at this bar. I knew the waitress, good friends with the waitress. And that's fair. It was a burnt cookie. And she was like, I don't really want to eat the burnt cookie. And the girl was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. We'll remake it. It is burnt. I didn't notice. Perfectly fine. Goes back, takes it back. And then it gets busy because it's football Thursday and it's opening night. And the Denver Broncos at the time, that was the year that they had the best offense in history. That was also the year that we lost to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. But it was very busy, right? So it took longer than the normal allotted 20 minutes. It was probably like 45 minutes, maybe an hour, right? But whatever. It was a fucking cookie. We're watching a football game. The girl, it's busy. Read the goddamn room, right? So the waitress comes back with the cookie. And the girl with no friends goes, oh, well, it took so long that it was supposed to be 20 minutes. And now, I don't even know if I want it. And then the waitress looks at me and I'm like, what? I was like, you don't want it now? Why didn't you just tell her that? And she goes, well, that was an hour ago. And I'm like, I don't think it was really an hour ago. And she goes, I mean, I guess if you're just going to throw it out, I'll take it. So she gives her the cookie. Then the girl eats the whole fucking cookie. The whole fucking cookie. I don't know why this was such an incident at the time too. There were emails, there were phone calls, there was a meeting. So then the bill comes. Everybody at the table. It's not a problem. We all are like, oh, this is mine, whatever. And then the girl goes, the cookie's on the bill. And I'm like, yeah, you ate the cookie. She goes, yeah, but I had to send it back. And then it took an hour to get. Why would they charge me for that? I was like, well, you ate the cookie. You ate the fucking cookie. If you didn't want the cookie and you were like, I don't want the cookie, she would have taken the cookie back and it would have been on your goddamn bill. She's like, no, that's not right. So she calls over the waitress and I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, I don't understand why this is on the bill. And the waitress looks at me and she goes, you ate the cookie. I'm like, that's what I said. And she goes, what do you mean I ate the cookie? She's like, are you giving me an attitude? And then the guy that likes me that's wearing the Bronco stuff, who's a Patriot fan, I just want to say that as much as possible. My vagina was awesome enough to get a guy that is a diehard Pats fan to wear Bronco stuff. Just so we're all on the same page. Awesome vagina. He never saw the vagina or was inside of it, but he wanted to be. So that counts, right? So then that guy goes, I'll pay for the cookie. And she's like, no, it's the principle of the matter. And he goes, no, it's not. I'll pay for the cookie. I had a couple bites of the cookie, so I'm cool. I'm cool paying for the cookie. And the waitress was like, okay, are we all good here? And I'm like, yeah, Emily, go. You're fine. We'll pay for the cookie. I cannot believe this is happening. I'm mortified. And the girl was just like, I don't understand. And I'm like, there's a reason you don't have any friends. When someone doesn't have any friends, there's a fucking reason why, because they pull shit like this. So that should have been it, right? Cookies paid for, girl gets tipped. We all take care of the girl. I don't know if the girl with no friends tipped her, but we all over tipped, probably because we knew that girl wasn't going to tip her. And then 2 days later, I get a call from my manager. And he's like, hey, Kim, it's Mikey, who's this New Yorker, right? God, I love Mikey. Hi, Mikey. He's like, hey, Kim, what's with this fucking Wangzuki? I'm like, what Wangzuki? He's like, apparently some girl on Thursday night. And I'm like, oh my God, why do you know about that? The girl wrote PJ, the owner of Big Wings, a page email about how she would not come back unless that girl was fired. Wrote a page email about how she wouldn't come back unless that girl was fired. I felt like I needed to say it again. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I explained the whole story. Mikey was like, that sounds like she handled it correctly. I'm like, yeah, no one was rude to anybody. In fact, the only one in this scenario that was rude to anybody was me. And I was fucking rude to that girl. And if I get fired for that, that's stupid because I wasn't on the clock. And this girl is, quote, not really my friend, but, quote, friends, right? So then I had to talk to the owner. This girl almost got fired because of this bitch's email. And I called Whitney afterwards and I was like, there is a reason that girl doesn't have any friends. I know you're being nice and you're being like, I don't know, maybe she doesn't have any friends. Maybe you could be the person that gives her a friend. No. After that, I'm like, if someone doesn't have any friends, there's a reason why. It's a red flag. Run for the hills. It is not my responsibility to make a person likable. That bitch is unlikable. And I still follow that girl and everything. And that girl still to this day has problems with everybody. She makes multiple stories about how she's like, well, then I had to room out with my roommate. And like, I mean, just like insanity. There is a reason. So what was that? Oh God, that was only rule two. If we're way into this, I may not get to the 15. I think I will. It'll be fine. All right. Oh, rule number 3. This is easy. I already said it before. I don't answer questions. I'm not asked. I don't. If someone is, I mean, I do think that like, I like the notion of with like a partner or a friend, if they are telling you what's going on in their life and you're like, all right, is this a brainstorming, you want advice situation, or do you just want to vent? Like it is, I think communication is key, but for my own say, my rule is if someone doesn't ask me a question, I don't answer it. So if someone tells me all about their shitty boyfriend, at the end of it, I go, man, that sounds really rough. I'm really sorry. I'm here for you if you need me. Unless they say, what do you think I should do? I don't answer questions I'm not asked. Okay. I don't know why that one really hits home because a lot has gone on in the last 100 days. And a lot of people have been answering a lot of questions to me that I did not ask them. I did not ask. And so I think that's really like hitting home lately, soon. This one is kind of mean, but this is just a general rule for humans. This is what I believe. And if you are not this, I do not have you in my life. You can't be dumb and mean. You can't be dumb and mean. You can be dumb and nice. You can be mean and smart, but you can't be dumb and mean. If you're dumb and you're mean, I'm not going to have you in my life. Like you offer literally nothing. I do have some dumb, mean friends or dumb, smart friends. And I do have some smart, mean friends. I enjoy them. Though on occasion, they're a good time. They have some good zingers. We have a good roast. It's fun. But you can't be dumb and mean. You can't be dumb and mean. Dumb and mean people are the worst. Rule number 5. I don't know. So it's good. Okay. We are going to get through these because that was like we went through 3 rules in like 3 minutes. I'm like, fuck, I still have a couple of other things I want to talk about. I always have a fear at like this point that I did not hit record. I don't know why. I'm like, oh man, I'll never be able to see. I'm breathing, guys. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so nice, but I can't get stressed out. I like the stress, and maybe that. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be able to avoid stress forever, but I think for now, I'm drooling. For now, I got to avoid it. Rule number 5. Oh, okay. Rule number 5. This was told to me when I was 21 years old. I first moved to Los Angeles, and this guy that I had a weird almost relationship, one of those almost that we talked about last week, a guy that we used to work in a phone room together, this wild phone room I worked in when I first moved to Los Angeles. And we sat next to each other in this phone room, and he was very toxic and he had a lot of trauma that he didn't want to look at. And, same. So we, of course, flocked, we like, what is that? Like flocked together? I don't know, whatever. I was trying to make a noise. But one day he said something to me, and it took me a decade to hear him, maybe longer. I think I'm just now kind of hearing him. He looked at me and he said, and it's been said millions of times, different ways, but this is millions of times in many ways. Merry Christmas. Sorry. And it's been said a billion times, different ways, but this is the first time I had ever heard it. And maybe this will be the first time you ever heard it. He said, do whatever you want, because no matter what you do, the guy next to you will always judge you. Like there will always be someone around you that will judge you. So you might as well do what you want to do. You might as well do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a billion people that are judging me. Not a billion. I don't know who the fuck I think I am, but a lot of people are judging me now for this, for that, for whatever. And it's just like, okay, well, you could be judged and do what you want to do, or you could be judged and try and jump through hoops so those people don't judge you. But then other people will judge you for jumping through hoops because those people judged you. So like people are going to judge you no matter what you do. Just do what you want to do. I'm starting to again get, oh, this one's good. Oh, we don't need to. Rule number 6. This is probably one of the most important ones, guys. Be a poop pants ally. Be a poop pants ally. Be a person that the people in your life can come to and tell you that they pooped their pants. I'm not just talking for the hilarity of it all, because you're welcome. If you're a person that people feel comfortable that you won't judge them about them pooping their pants or any other bizarre shit that comes out of their body, you know what I mean? Like anything. We all have stuff that happens where you're like, I could never tell anybody about that. Be the person and the people in your lives that they can tell about that. Not only is it funny, but it's nice. It's just a nice thing to do. Like you should never shame someone for shitting their pants. You should never shame someone for shitting their pants. And if you're like, ew, I've never shit my pants. Once again, I say it every week and I will say it until the day I die. If you haven't pooped your pants, your time is coming. No one leaves this life without pooping their pants. Nobody. There is nothing that I am more sure of than that fact. Nobody leaves this human form without shitting their pants. And I'm not talking as a baby, and I'm not talking as a full-on elderly broad. I'm talking about like the years that you're supposed to have control of your sphincter. We all will or have pooped our pants. Some of us a little bit more than others, but be a poop pants ally. Be a poop pants ally. That's also not the poop scoop. I'm pretty excited about this week's poop scoop. All right, that was. Oh, this kind of goes into the same as like rule number. Oh no, this is rule number 7. I'm getting distracted. And I'm also starting to get hot and a little dizzy. I need to take a sip of water. I always wonder what would happen if I passed out in the closet. Like, what if like I get all worked up? I don't know if that'll ever happen, but it might be kind of funny. And then if it does, I record the video. If it does, I promise I will. We all shouldn't root for me passing out in the closet. I guess that would probably bring on a couple of other, but I always think about it. Okay. Rule number 7. I learned this in 12 step, and I don't know. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And I'm just talking about like petty little arguments that people seem to like I was working with this kid when I was working at the bar I was working at when I got COVID. I love this kid. This kid is probably the thing I'm going to miss there. He's just this funny 23-year-old little sober alcoholic and just like this angry little kid. He's like 23, 25. I don't know, but he's so fucking funny. I hope in my life I get to see him again. He's so goddamn funny. But we were working and we were closing the bar one night, and he's an AA. And so he knows, and I didn't tell you his name, so I'm not giving away his anonymity, but there was like something that wasn't stocked, and the person that had left before us said they would stock it, and then they didn't stock it, and like a beer cooler or something like that. And he's like, fuck, motherfucker, fuck. And he's like yelling. He's like, nah, this is not okay. I'm going to write a note. I'm going to call the manager. I'm going to call the owner. And I was like, or you could just stock the beer. He's like, no, it's the goddamn principle of the matter. And he is so angry about like 6 beers, like putting like 6 beers from 10 feet away, walking the 6 beers to another 10 feet, and he's like, it's just a fucking principle of it. People who say that, I say to you, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? It was like, dude, you're like clearly flipped out over nothing. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Going through the channels of getting this person in trouble will be a week or 2 of your life. Also, that person will probably not like you anymore. So the rest of the time you work with that person, they're going to be like, that guy's a bitch, right? So would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And he goes, you sound like my fucking sponsor. And I was like, yeah, that's because it's like the other night, my cousin was arguing with me that I didn't drink enough water. And then I explained to her how much water I drank. And then she told me I didn't drink that much water. And I was like, okay, I'll drink more water. And she was like, cool. And I was like, cool. And I'm like, would you rather be right? Or like, I could sit there and argue with her and tell her like the exact matrix of how much water I drink and how much I pee and blah, blah, blah. But like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? A lot of these two have come about since getting COVID. The last 95 days have really changed my perspective on a lot of shit. The next one, okay. The next one is one of my favorite things, and it's one of my favorite things to say to people when they get in your fucking business. So I was bartending years ago at a place called Public School, and this guy, this hot dude, God, him and his girlfriend used to come in to Thirsty where I was working before. And I finally got to tell him that his philosophy changed my life. And he goes, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I think about that all the time." And he also knows that when we worked together at Public School, I was like, "Yeah, everybody has needs a reason to shower before they go into work, and you, my friend, are mine." And he thought it was funny. Like, it wasn't like a creepy crush. Like, I wasn't like creeping him out. It was just like, "Yeah, I got a crush on you, so I want to look pretty when I'm around you." And his girlfriend is awesome. So there's no like, not, I think it doesn't matter. So one night we're bartending together, and there's a lot, this particular bar had a lot of prep work. So like one bartender would be bartending, and then the other one would be in the kitchen just doing a shit ton of cooking, I guess. I will never work at a bar like that again. Just like cooking simple syrup and zesting shit. So he was like, "You'll go back and do that." But I had to do something with a lime. And I was like, "I don't know how to do that." And he goes, "Okay." So he pulls up this like apparatus and this lime. And he's like, "Show it's like a zest thing, but it wasn't zest. It was like getting like shavings of a lime. I don't know." So he's like, "Just do this." I'm like, "Cool." So he leaves. And he leaves. And as soon as he leaves, a kitchen guy comes up to me and goes, "You're doing that wrong." And then he shows me a different way to do it. Now, I don't care, right? I don't give a fuck how I zest a lime. I don't care. I thought it was easier just to do it the way the guy was watching me do it than like argue with him. I literally don't care. So I start doing it his way. And then Maffey comes back. That's the bartender's name. Maffey comes back and he goes, "Why are you doing it that way?" And I was like, "Oh, the chef told me to do it this way." And he goes, "Next time that guy comes up to you and tells you how to, like, he's a chef, you're a bartender, you're doing bartender stuff. Like, you're not going over there and telling him how to do chef stuff." And I was like, "No." And he goes, "The next time he comes over and tries to tell you about your shit, look at him and go, if I'm worried about me and you're worried about me, who the fuck's worrying about you?" That's I'm losing track. That's rule number 9. Rule number 9. If I'm worried about me and you're worried about me, who the fuck's worrying about you? Like, people worry so much about, like, drop the magnifying glass and pick up a goddamn mirror. The people who meddle the most in other people's shit are people that need to meddle the most in their own shit. Like, people who like are obsessed with other people's defects are people that need to look at themselves the most. And I can only say that because I was that way for years. Like, for years. It was just much easier to, I hope this is funny. I think we all know that about halfway point of every episode, I panic in my head and my brain. I call him Brian. Brian is the critical voice in my head. I call him Brian because I always mix up brain and Brian together. So when I see the word brain, I go, "Who's Brian?" Oh, right. So I call my critical voice Brian. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but Brian is like around halfway point. Brian in my head goes, "I don't think this is very funny. No one gives a fuck about your rules. Why are you doing this? You should stop and only talk about poop." Now, Brian, I agree with you on that. I should only talk about poop always, but that's not socially acceptable. But if I could, I'd just have a whole podcast. I mean, I guess I could. Okay. But I want to be honest, like, we all have that critical voice, right? And if you don't find my rules, take what you like and leave the rest. You know what I mean? Like, if you like some of this, take it. And some of this makes you want to yell "fuck off" at me. Do that. Take what you like, leave the rest. So we're at rule number 10. Rule number 10, I learned really hardcore in lockdown. And a guy told me it a couple years ago. So it's like a 2-parter. Like, I have a guy that I met. Oh, his name is Zach Sima. If you can find him on social media, like, find him for me. He's like still one of the hottest dudes I've ever had sex with. And he was like a man, you know what I mean? Like, he was just like, and then he had this like high rise apartment in San Diego that like overlooked the ocean that was like all windows. Saxima. But he said something to me years ago that we were talking about my career, and we were talking about, God, he was such a gentleman. Oh man, sorry, I went somewhere else, but I was just like, oh, I'm really nervous about this like new career thing that I was like venturing out on, and he goes, if you don't believe in you, how do you expect anybody else to believe in you? And I was like, ooh, I was like 20, I don't know, I was probably 31 or so, and I wrote that down, and I have it on my desk. And I'm going to add on to it that I've learned. I had that friend that I'm not friends with anymore. That COVID took it. Once again, wish her the best. But I don't know why I need to say that every week. She does not listen to this. She does not give a fuck about what anybody else is doing but herself. But when lockdown happened, she could not. She lives alone. She could not be alone. Like, she never locked down. She went to like 7 states during a pandemic just for fun. She partied it up in Florida for a week and packed bars, and then went to Texas, hung out there for a bit, and then came back to LA and didn't quarantine like at all. And everyone was really mad about it. And I'm pissed about it too, especially since I've been sick for almost 100 days. Like, fuck her, right? And people have died, fuck her for sure. But like, she's terrible company. Like, she's terrible company. Like, I look back on all the times we hung out prior to this, and like, I know but like, no, everybody I know is like, oh yeah, she's awful to be around. You just drink a bunch. She's fun to party with, and she's silly and she's kind of fun. But so like, if you're bad company, how do you expect anybody else to think? So it's the same thing. Like, if you don't love yourself, if you don't love being around you, if you don't believe in you, how the fuck do you expect anybody else to? So like, love yourself. And if you don't, start doing the work too, man. Like, it's the longest relationship you will ever have. It is the relationship that you will never ever, it's the only relationship that will never go away, no matter what you do. Believe me, I've tried to run away from myself. I've tried to do for years. And finally, I tried to run away from all I am, everything that happened to me for years. I tried to drink it away. I tried to fuck it away. I tried to move, I tried to switch jobs, this, that. And then finally it was just, oh, I have to stop and turn around and face this shit and learn to love me. So like, if you don't love you, man, how do you expect anybody else to? All right. Rule number, this one's a rough one. Rule number 11. If someone is talking trash about everybody to you, they're talking trash about you to everybody. I'm going to say that again. If somebody is talking bad about everybody to you, they are talking bad about you to everybody. You are not special. You are not special. You are special. You're a little flower, but like, you're not like I had 2 friends in the days that I worked at the sports bar, and they were the type of friends. They were the popular girls. They were like the cool girls, right? The girls that like 16-year-old Kim would have killed to be friends with in high school. They knew all the makeup tricks. They had all the hot dudes. They were funny. They were cool. They were like the queen bees of this place. And they decided to be my friend. And I love these 2 women. And, though we aren't really friends any longer, it's not there. I mean, one of them I had somewhat of a falling out about. But that, there's no hard feelings, at least on my end. And the other one, we just simply grew apart, and I wish them all of the best in the world. But those 2 women talked a lot about everybody. And for the longest time, I thought I was so special because they were talking about each other to me. Like, they both would talk shit about the other one to me. And then they talk shit about all the important people in their life. And I'm not talking like venting. Like, I have my best friend, I vent to her about everything. Like, she knows though, like I have 2 of my best friends, I vent to about everybody, right? Like, I'm not talking venting. I'm talking like petty catty shit. Like, she's ugly or she's never going to amount to anything like that, like petty catty shit. And these 2 women would do that. And then it came out that they were also saying a lot of really mean shit about me. And truthfully, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that tracks, because they say a lot of shit about everybody else. So why would I think I was special? And like, to have those people around, I guess. I mean, I still have friends like that talk a lot of, petty shit, and I enjoy them. There, a few of them are some of my favorite people. And, but like, goes back to rule number 1, don't go to the hardware store for milk. I don't go to those people with, important shit that I want to keep sacred. You know what I like goals that I don't want to be shit on that have the energy out in the world. If that makes sense. Like I don't like, but it's cool to have those friends. I'm not saying like, you know, I mean, they're kind of waning away from me. Actually, the more I grow and evolve, the more that kind of behavior is sort of fucking off. But I'm not putting it down, but I'm just saying, if you have a friend that talks shit about everybody, don't think you're special. They for sure talk shit about you too. How are we doing? How is this? Is this okay? This is something that I am learning a lot, especially in COVID. And I've been chasing it. I've been chasing it for a long time. I heard about the book The Power of Now when I was in college. This woman came to talk at our audition technique class, and she was in the movie. I think she was Debbie from Denver in Almost Famous. And she was this quiet, I wonder where she is now. I don't know. You know, it's so funny. We are peers now, and we're around the same age. I could probably reach out to her and tell her that this shifted me. She was so calm and quiet, and people were, everybody was asking what the secret of like making it out in Hollywood. None of us knew what Hollywood was like. None of us knew at all. But she just said, I would read the book, The Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle. I bought that book and I read it then. I have it on tape. I'm so old. I have it on tape. I don't have a Walkman anymore. There might be people who do not know what a Walkman is who's listened to this. Man, but I had this bright yellow Walkman. I miss that thing. This is why I'm a pack rat sometimes, because like 20 years after the fact, I'm like, I would have loved to listen to that Walkman. I used to make these wild mixtapes where I would yell and fart into the phone, or not into the phone, into the microphone, and man, they were a delight. So I was making podcasts on tapes and giving it to my friends, is what I'm saying, years before this moment. But she said The Power of Now. And the other night I was talking to my friend on Zoom, and I have a tendency to future trip, is what they call it, right? Where it's like, well, what about this? What about that? I mean, I told you earlier, I read the back of the book, the last chapter of the book, almost every time I read a book, especially like a novel, because I want to make sure that this character that I have now attached to doesn't die and sticks around, right? That's my abandonment shit, and a little crazy, I know, but like that's my hypervigilance. Like I need to know what's happening. And then my friend the other night, we were talking, and I was like, well, what about this? What about this? What if this happens when we're this? Like playing out all these scenarios about things that would happen years into if we work out into a relationship. And he just goes, why don't we just be here right now? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a lesson I keep having to learn. Be here right now. He was like, right now, I'm just enjoying you. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying getting to know you. Let's just be here. Like I learned, I first heard it. I grew up in AA. My mom was in and out of AA my whole life, and my stepdad is been sober. God, he's been sober like 40 years or some shit. And I used to go to AA meetings with him a lot. And my stepdad, he shared he was like the speaker at the meeting. So he shared his like story, right? He's like 10-minute speaker. We were in Fort Morgan, Colorado. I remember sitting at this big long table with all these old drunks, right? And just like holding their hands and saying the Serenity Prayer. And it seems really fucked up, and but those were the moments that were really awesome for me, because my mom was sober and working a program, and we were happier at those times. And I belonged in there. And little did I know that I would spend a lifetime in rooms like that, and some of the people that I would come to love the most were people in those rooms. And so my stepdad was sharing, and this has been said again a billion times, every other way, 7 ways from Sunday, right? But it was the first time I said it, and he just was like, I'm learning to become present. And he was like, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery. And he's like, one day at a time. And I know that is so cliche, but fuck, I was like 12. It blew my goddamn mind. I was like, yeah, tomorrow is a mystery. And it rhymed all the better. You know what I mean? And then I'm doing the artist way now. And she just said, and it's true. It's like when the past is too painful to look at and the future is too scary, I have right now. Just be here. Be here. I'm breathing. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my belly. I have people that love me. I'm breathing, So just rule 12, be here. Just be here. And I'm grateful for the little reminders, and I'm grateful for the guy in my life that gave me the reminder again. Rule number 13. God damn it. I also am like clearing out shit. I think I'm getting better. I'm pretty stoked about this. Okay, what is this? If a person doesn't, oh yeah, rule number 13. I am learning this. If a person or thing doesn't completely light you up, don't spend your precious time with them. Like if you don't completely light me up, I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to waste my time with you. If this like situation, and I'm not talking again, like I have Brian, my critical voice. He likes to be like, yeah, but what about when you have to do this stuff? It's like, yeah, dude, no one is thinking like, well, you have to sometimes like do shit you don't want to do because that's part of life. Of course, it's part of life. I'm not talking about like to avoid everything that's painful or a bummer. I just mean like the people you spend your time with, if they don't completely light you up, like I talked about a couple of weeks ago, I have a friend named Whitney that I talk about a lot on here, and this guy supports and believes in me in ways that I never thought. And even the other day, he said, he goes, I can't wait until you believe in you as much as I believe in you. He said something like that. It was really fucking cool. Don't be around people that don't fucking light you up, right? I spent so much time before COVID, and it's wild. It's like with people that it was just like, well, I don't have anything else to do tonight. I guess I'll hang out with this person. I don't really enjoy them. That's why I partied so much, because it was like, I don't really like hanging out with this person. I'll just get drunk. That'll make it fun, right? But now what's interesting is COVID has switched that. I mean, like at least in LA, a lot of places, they don't really give a fuck about the outdoor dining and you moving around. But like before times, if you went out with your friends, I was going to say a real name, A, and you don't enjoy her company that much, you have a world of people at the bar you could go hang out with. You could go say hi to a new dude. You can make friends over here. She will go off there. You can go say hi to people. Now it's like, you got to stay in your seat. You got to stay 6 feet apart, stay with the people you came with. So like, you got to stay, like going out with people that don't completely light you up. You shouldn't do it anymore, because otherwise you're just stuck there. And who wants to just get housed in front of somebody you don't really like, you know? So if something doesn't completely light you up, or a person doesn't, these are how, I don't know why I'm getting insecure again. We're almost done. I'm not going to be insecure. This is how I live my life. If you don't want to live your life this way, I'm not telling you what to do. Who gives it, you know? This is a big one. And this is one that I learned, I knew a long time ago, or not a long time ago, but I keep, it's the same thing as the presence thing. I keep getting the reminder. It is not my fault what happened to me as a child. It is not. I was a victim. But it is my responsibility how I behave in the world now. It is my responsibility to work through that trauma and not get triggered everywhere and like flip, like, because I know people that are like, that had a bad upbringing, and how they behave in the world. People are like, well, she had a really bad childhood. I used to be friends with this girl years ago. I think I told you about this girl, the girl who told the guy that I was dating that I was brutally gang raped. So he dumped me because, yeah, if you don't know that, that means you haven't listened to all the episodes. Go back and listen to the episodes. That story was wild. When I found that out, I was like, what? But like, this girl was a train wreck. This girl was she had trauma. She had a lot of trauma. You knew that. And everybody around, like, she would get hammered. She'd get fucked up. She'd cry everywhere. She was a mess. Like, I remember we went to, my friend from high school was in town, and we went to Six Flags with her. And this girl's name was April. We went to Six Flags with April, and April drove, and she got out to pump gas. And Catherine and I, my friend from high school, were sitting in the car, and something was going on with the gas pump, I guess. And April just flipped the fuck out at the gas station, like literally pounding on her car, yelling and screaming, like hitting the thing. And I had a bad childhood, and I hadn't looked at my shit yet. So like that just made me like shut down and be quiet. But Catherine had a pretty good one and was like, what the fuck's up with your friend? And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. I'm scared. I don't know if it was exactly like that, but it was just very funny how two people in the room, one who had an adjusted childhood and one who didn't. I was just like, shut down. I'm scared of angry people. I'm in trouble, right? Don't make April mad. But like anytime we talk about April behind her back, people would always say she had a really bad childhood. And I remember being like, yeah, I did too. And I don't behave like that. Like, I don't act that way in public or to people. Like my issue is mostly turning it inward, right? Like turning it to myself and being mean to myself. But like, people justified her behavior for years because she had a drunk dad, and some of the stuff she told me about her drunk dad, I was like, oh, I feel like more probably happened, but yeah, that sucks. That sucks that happened to her. That sucks that it happened to me. It sucks. Like, I've had to heal wounds, and there is more, and I know that, and there's more that I have not even remembered yet. And in fact, I talk to the memories I don't have yet, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for you, but when you're ready to come out, I trust that you will come out when I have the support around me, because I know there is a lot of shit that I don't remember that I blocked out, and I'm scared. But that is sad, and that sucks, but it is not the world's responsibility to like deal with me because I had a shitty childhood. It's my responsibility to work through that and be, and not take it out on every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes into my life. And yeah, I'm not perfect. Of course I get triggered. And of course but I'm looking at that, and I don't have people in my life that use their childhood as like most of my friends had a traumatic childhood. I'm friends with mostly people in 12-step programs, and most of those people had a really fucked up childhood. And we sit around and talk about our fucked up childhoods, and like it was NAM because there were no rules. Just kidding. I don't know why I said that. Actually, I do. I've been trying to work that into a statement a lot, as much as I can. It's very funny, but like. The people, but they are adamantly and vigorously working on healing that wound so they don't take it out into the world. And then the last rule number 15, I learned this. This is what I say is the key to life, my key to life. I have shared, my dad died. When my dad died, that was like 5 years ago. My dad died, and within a 3-month span, he passed a guy that was like my LA dad, Lonnie, who was just a wonderful gentleman, died out of nowhere too. And then a friend of mine, Lorelei, committed suicide in a 3-month span. And it was fucking rough, right? Like it was almost laughable, about just not laughable, but you know me, I make light out of fucked up situations. But during that time, I realized how much nothing really mattered. And I don't mean like in a nothing matters, who cares? I just mean like none of this is real. We all made this up. Like that's why be with people that light you up. Be right here, right now. Like the bills will get paid. And I know that sounds. There are times that I have been like counting out quarters in my life that I found in the couch cushion to pay my rent, but it always gets paid. Like bills. So like I'm not naive and privileged, being like bills will get paid. Like believe me, I have been in the poverty situation. I've been in the doing really well situation. Like but like none of it matters. The only thing, the key to life is be kind, be grateful, and work hard. Like pray to catch the bus, but run like hell. You know what everything will be provided for you, and be fucking nice, man. Just be kind. It doesn't cost you anything. Like I've been on the phone with a bunch of people. I was trying to lower my Spectrum bill, which I did. And I was on the phone with a woman, and I was just like, how are you? And she was like, I was like, well, how are you doing today? Or no, I was like, you having a good day? And she goes, oh, I'm sorry, you heard me sigh really loud, didn't you? I was like, no, I was just genuinely asking how your day was. Has it been bad? And she's just like, people have just been really awful. Why? Why are you mean to the cable person? Like, believe me, the other night I had a CVS situation, and I wanted to fucking knock the guy out. I wanted to knock the dude out. And instead of doing that, I just was like, just use the bare minimum amount of words and get out of here and scream in your car. Because this guy, you don't know what this guy has been through. And why do I need to be mean to that guy? Right? Like, be kind. Then I went to UPS the other day, and I was like, how are you? And she's like, I'm okay. And I'm watching people come in. There's a clear sign on the goddamn door that says 4 people in at a time. 4, you fucking idiots. Read. And there's like 9 in there. And one person came in, looked at the sign and said, I know it only says 4, but there's already 9 in here. And I was like, I'd blow a goddamn gasket if I was you. And I was like, I'm really sorry. Is everyone being nice to you? And she goes, you've been really nice. I appreciate it. Like, what? Why is that the anomaly? Or anomaly? Yeah, that's the right word. Just be kind. Be fucking kind. I know I'm yelling be kind in a not kind voice, but God, it makes me so angry. I'm also smart, so I'm allowed to be a bitch. Remember one of the rules, you can be a bitch and smart, but you can't be a bitch and dumb. At least if you want to be in my world. But yeah, be grateful. I know, I'm reading this book that was just like, God, can you imagine if you wanted to get this, you got this like a perfect present for your friend, like perfect present. You're super excited about it. You wrap it up in like the best, like gold and blue wrapping paper with a pretty bow, and you write the card all like meticulously, and the whole thing is just like perfect. And you put it together, and then you give it to her, and she looks at it and then just tosses it aside and goes to her next gift and doesn't acknowledge any of it, right? And doesn't say thank you, doesn't look you in the eye, doesn't even say like, oh, this is great. I feel like that's the book was like, that's how the universe feels when it gives you, all the fucking blessings around you. And you're just like, yeah, but where's this? Yeah, but I don't have this. Yeah, I don't have the right car anymore. You know what I like? Be grateful. And also, by the way, fun hot tip, apparently the more grateful you are, the better shit that comes into your life. Those people, I don't know, I'm moving my arms a lot. Those people that have like the black cloud around them all the time and everything's always shitty. Like they can't catch a break. And they're like, yeah, but what about this? And what about, I don't really have those people in my life anymore, but I've worked with those people. And it's just like, yeah, the more you see the shitty shit, the more shitty shit's going to come. The more you see the good stuff, way better stuff. So and then work hard. You deserve your dreams. You deserve your dreams. And then I forgot about that lesson. And then 3 years later, my granddad died. My aunt, who was like my mother, died. And then my uncle, who was one of my favorite human beings, died. And then another friend of mine committed suicide, all in the 6-month span, all of it. And it made me be like, oh yeah, there's literally only one key to life. Just be kind, be grateful, work hard. That's it. I'm going to get that tattooed somewhere. No, I don't know why I said somewhere. Like I think in my arm, not somewhere like, somebody's in my apartment. Nobody is in your apartment. I don't know why I have to tell myself that a lot. Yeah. So those are my rules. I don't know if you got anything from them or if you're like, wow, you're a bitch. I don't know. I don't know why I think you'd call me a bitch, but those are my rules. I try to live by them. I thought I'd share them. I don't know. I feel like there's some substance in there. Okay. So earlier this week, what the fuck is that? Okay. I have run out of pooping my pants stories, right? I can't believe it's taken me this long. Actually, I can't believe it. I don't have more. I'm disappointed. I ran out of poop stories, but I took to the internet. I took to Facebook. Well, my buddy texts me and he goes, I have several poop pants stories. Do you want to use them for your podcast? And then I was like, I should just make a post. And now I got some emails. So here's how this is going to work. Email me your poop scoop story, KYMKRALSPACE@gmail.com. And if you don't specify in there that you don't want me to say your name or that you are okay with me saying your name, I'm not going to say your name. So I'm just going to err on the side of caution and not say your name. So if you want credit for the poop story, not everybody feels that way. I'm like, yeah, tell people it was Kim Kral. I want them to know I shit my pants, but not everybody feels that way. I'm going to keep you anonymous. But I've already also, if you DM me or you comment the poop story, I'm not going to read it. I will not, you guys already know that my brain is all over the map. I will not remember. Oh, remember when you posted that like 5 weeks ago and somebody wrote something on there? You should go there. Just email, follow instructions, email. It's not hard. KimKralSpace@gmail.com and I'll read it. So here's my first one. This is I've gotten like 8 so far. That's a lie. I've gotten 4. I don't even know if that's true. But this is my first lady. So I wanted to start with a lady because, God, I love it when women talk about poop, not in a sexual way. You know what I mean? Okay. So this woman is one of a very funny comedian's girlfriend. That's how I met her. And she's just a lovely, sweet woman. And by the way, how this is also going to work, I'm not going to read it before I open the email. So we are all going to see how terrible I am at reading out loud. And then also my real-time reaction to your poop story. Here's the poop scoop. Poop scoop booty. All right. It says, I was dating a guy when I was in high school. He was in college. And I was so excited to go visit him for a weekend. We went out drinking. And of course, he got wasted. I was woken up in the middle of the night to him sitting in the middle of the dorm room. I had no idea what to do, so I pretended to be asleep, rolled back over, and let him finish. Ha ha. The next morning, he had to clean up the poop. What? But he was like, I think you should leave. So we skipped breakfast and I left and we never spoke again. What? So she was dating this guy. They were dating enough to where she went to go visit him for the weekend. And then he shit. I love that such a dude to like make her feel ashamed for him shitting in the middle of the floor. Like, I think you should go. Oh my God. How did he wipe? I have so many questions. Like, I wonder what she said. If you're listening, I will also email you back and let you know what episode it is. So maybe we can do follow-ups. Oh, we could do follow-ups like, where are they now? Or what questions do we have? Because my questions are like, did he wipe? Like, what kind of poop? The very important question in all of these poop stories is, what was the consistency of the poop, right? Like, I know, or like, yeah, like what was the I don't know what the right word. I think consistency is. Like, was it runny? Was it hard? Was it like a lot? Was it just a little? Was he like, did he like get it? Like, was he squatting or was he just like sitting and poop? Like, I have so like, what was his position on the floor? I got way too excited. I'm so excited. Okay, so what was his position on the floor? Was he squatting as if he was camping? Was he, because like when I camp and I got to poop, I dig a hole and I put a stick over the hole and then I sit on the stick. So I make a little toilet and then I bury the poop, right? So like, I guess, was he sitting on something so he could just like drop was it runny poop? Wow, did he leave he was cleaning it up when she woke up. He cleaned it up, but was like, I think you should leave. Was he ashamed or was he shaming her? My God, I think you should leave. I mean, I don't know what I would do. Like, if it was my own place, what would you do? I guess if he was drunk and he pooped in the middle of the night, he probably wouldn't have known. Wow, I'm really dissecting. I can't say dissecting this. I'm so excited. This is my favorite thing that I've decided to do is that, and finally people like the poop scoop is amazing. And now finally people are sending me their stories and I could not be happier. Like, I'm way too excited. But they never spoke again. Let's think about this. Let's go on a journey. All right. So you poop. I'm asking myself this. I get really, really drunk and this guy has come to visit me for the weekend and I'm really hammered and I end up shitting on my floor in the middle of the night. What is that? Why? Like, what? Okay, so I shit on my floor and we'll just say for like the picture so we can like picture it, it's just a regular type poop, right? It's just, I just had to poop in the middle of the night. It wasn't like explosive. It wasn't, though that would bring on a whole other set of stuff. But like, so then, right, so we'll just say for argument's sake, it's just like regular poop, right? I just regularly pooped on my floor. Yeah, I guess I'd kick that guy out too. I don't know. And then you wake up in the morning and he's still there. You wake up in the morning, he's still there. I wonder, did she wake up and was like, you shit on your floor? Or if she woke up while like, and then you're like, because I peed the bed one time. I told you about that. You wake up in mid pee and you're like, fuck. So what, he goes back to bed. Did he wipe? What did he wipe with? Was there like a sock? Like say, okay, so there's a sock that he finds next to his floor. Because I'm imagining this guy wasn't the cleanest of people. First of all, he's a college boy. Second of all, you know, he's a person who gets shit housed enough that he shits in the middle of his floor. Was it in the middle specifically or off to the side? Like, where did he think he was pooping? Is his bathroom that spacious? So and then he uses a sock to wipe. I'm going to say he wiped. He probably didn't, that animal. And then he wakes up and she's in there. And then he's like, I got to clean up this poop. Was he like, I think you should go? Or if he was like, get out of here. Like, which one was it? Was he like, you got to go right now? Or was he like, I think you should leave? We didn't have breakfast. I love that she's like, we skipped breakfast. We skipped breakfast. Like, he wasn't like, do you want to eat something while I'm doing this? Like, he was like, get the fuck out. Was it the first night? Because it's the weekend. Was it the first night? Was it Friday night that he did it and then you had to leave Saturday? Or did you have a nice, lovely Friday? And then Saturday it got shithouse. I have a lot of questions. And then you never spoke to him again. Have you looked him up on Facebook? Yeah, if you're listening, my darling, and you hear these questions, I would appreciate a reply back, and then we will touch base next week. I will answer all my questions next week. That is your poop scoop. I am not disappointed. It is nice to know that everybody else has poop stuff. I guess this was the guy that she was dating's poop stuff, but still. Whew. And now we will go into, I just got so excited. That brought so much energy. Now we will, I just licked the microphone. We will go into I Am One Lucky Broad. I don't know. It's going to be the same as it is every week. I'm just so fucking grateful, you guys. I don't know. I've been really doing a lot of work on myself, like a lot. Like I've just been like, and not like hard work, but I'm doing like little things each day for myself to just like show up for me and like take care of me. During this COVID stuff, COVID stuff, I've had to really kick my self-care into overdrive, especially since I have had depression issues in the past. And I know that it'll be very easy for me to slip back into that. And so I need to keep up the routine. The trick for me is to keep up the routine while I'm feeling good. Because when I'm feeling bad, if it's a routine and it's a habit, then I will more likely keep it up. But when I'm feeling good and I'm like, I can skip this today just because I'm doing all right, that's when I get in trouble. And so I'm one lucky broad that I'm sticking to this routine. I picked up a new thing that I started this week, and it has been it's tiny, and I'll share it with you. It's so tiny, but it's been like a leap, one tiny step for Kim, one giant leap for my self-care. Nope, that didn't work. Can't knock them all out of the park. You know what I mean? You just can't. You try, and then sometimes you flop. But every night before I go to bed, I am adding to my routine. It takes 10 minutes. I just clean up my apartment and do the dishes that I did that day. Clean up my apartment, do the dishes. The dishes take probably 3 minutes because, I live alone and it's not like, but I mean, yesterday I made like this big omelet and breakfast thing. So it took me like 10 minutes to do my dishes, or like 15 minutes to clean up everything because it was an extra 5 minutes tacked onto my dishes. But like going to bed knowing my home is super clean and waking up to a super clean home has just been like light years for my self-care and just how I feel, right? So I'm just really one lucky broad that I have all these tools that is getting me through a really tough time. I'm one lucky broad that I've had all these people, like the 15 rules that I shared in this episode. I'm one lucky broad that I have had people come in my life, and some of them have left and some of them haven't, but have popped in my life to teach me some really important things that have helped me live a little bit happier and a little bit freer and a little bit more present. And like that guy said, just be here. Just be here right now. Right now, I'm okay. Right now, I'm taking deep breaths. Yeah. So follow me on all the stuff if you can. I would love that. It's KYMKRAL on all of the social media. I did just join Clubhouse. I haven't done it yet. I don't know if I will. Kim Kral Space is on there because somebody has Kim Kral. This bitch has Kim Kral. Her name's not Kim Kral. It's like Kim Kralvix. And she probably was excited because she got Clubhouse before I got this one, because normally I'm the one who gets all the other stuff first. So she's like, that bitch. I don't know. Who cares? So it's Kim Kral Space. I don't know if I'm going to use it a lot, but please follow me on everything. I would love that. And if you can give this subscribe, rate, review. I'm going to read one of my reviews. This is from Whitney Melton, which is really helpful because I talked about Whitney Melton a lot in this podcast. Whitney is one of my favorite human beings, and like I said, get a person like Whitney. Everybody deserves a Whitney in their life. Somebody who just supports the fuck out of you, loves you. I'm one lucky broad for that dude, And he was like the third person to ever leave a review because I was like, hey, can you leave me some reviews? And of course, this guy is awesome. And this is what he wrote. I can't read the full title of it because I haven't figured out how to click on it, but it says best new podcast out, THE, probably there. And it says Kral Space is funny, dirty, thoughtful, and there are a lot of stories about poop. What more could you ask for? You're going to love it. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you, dude, for everything. So if you get a chance, I would love it if you left me a review. That would really, it just does a lot for the visibility of the podcast, and it gets more people to listen. And I feel like a lot of people will enjoy listening to Shitting Pants and, Serenity life stories. I don't know what I don't know. I'm stuttering right now. It got really weird. I feel like I always end it really weird. Okay, well, that's the show. Please give me a follow. Please leave a rating review. I'm on YouTube. Subscribe to that. Just any way you can support, that'd be really, really awesome. It means just so much to me. And I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe. And I will see you next week. Bye. Kral, space, Kral.